Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be talking about a really cool concept which is multi-threading in Java. And I will be also showcasing you a real life example how you can implement this and understand in depth, right? And from there you can learn this in depth, right? But I will show you a real like example like how you can implement this. So what happens in multi-threading? Okay. Let me explain you one use case. So I'm getting a list, one particular list from a database. And once I receive that from database, what we are doing is we are traversing it, okay, getting the information out of it, and then we are creating an object. Let's say we are traversing a particular list, and then we have received employee ID, employee name, all those things. And then we are creating an employee object, setting all those values, and then we are writing that employee ID, employee object in one particular list. So we can do it in a serial fashion, like we can traverse the whole list and one by one we can go through each of the element, create an object of employee, and then we can write it in the final list, and then we can return that final list, right? Let's understand what's the issue in this. So if the list is small, let's say we are having 10 users or 20, let's say 100 records, then that's not an issue. We will be traversing each one of them and we can finish it. But let's increase the use case here. Let's say we are having a large number of users. Let's say we are having 1 million records in that particular list. Just imagine. And yeah, it will take so much time to just go through each of the element, creating an object, writing it, right? So the better approach here is what we'll do, we'll have the 1 million records. We'll have the 1 million records. We will divide those records into chunks. We will take first 200k records, next 200k records, next 200k records. And those records, what we are going to do is we are going to take those records. Let's say I have taken first 200 records. I'm going to give that to one thread. Second 200k records, I'm going to give it to the second thread. Third 200k records, I'm going to give it to third thread. And what these three threads, let's say I'm talking about two threads, what these two threads will do, these two threads will perform the same operation. They will create an employee object, store it and set the employee attributes, and write into single, you can say a final list. So there are five threads. They are doing operations in parallel, and they will write the information into one list, and we can return that list, right? And once the execution is finished, it will be faster, right? We'll be finishing our job in 1 by 5th of the time, approx 1 by 5th of the time, which is the time which is taken when we are just having a single thread which is going through all the complete list. So let's understand how we can achieve this. So I hope you're able to see my screen here. So first I will explain you a very simple employee object is having some employee ID, name, department, seat number, whatever it is. We are getting the ID, setting name, and we are just printing it using toString method. We are overriding it and we are printing the object. This is a very simple example. Let's understand and go to the main method here. This is the main method here. This is the class name. This is the main method. Don't consider the coding style. I know this is not the best coding style, but as of now, just understand the concept here. So, so we are having a class which is like new object creator, and from that we are calling this method called create new objects and save. And we are giving it like from 0 to 5. And then again we are calling the same object, calling the same method, and we are giving the list from 5 to 10. We are giving a bracket here, right? So now we'll understand what's in this method. Let's go to this class. So this is the new object creator class. What it does, it is having a method which is having a start and the end. Okay. What it will do the operation as I have earlier mentioned, like it will create an employee object, set the employee details, right? And then it will add those details into one list. This final object is a list. Here you can see this is a list. I will explain you what kind of list it is. But as of now, consider this as an array list and we are adding those elements in an array list. Once it is done, we are returning the array list, right? So what we are doing here is we have used a callable to create a task. We can either use callable, we can either use runnable, both are fine, but callable is so much better. Why? Because with callable, I can throw an exception. I can return some values from the callable. So here what I'm doing is at the end I'm returning this final object, this list I'm returning. Actually, there's no need of returning this, but for the sake of understanding, we are returning. So this is the task that we have created. Callable will have a method called call, and then I'm calling executor service dot submit this particular task. So let's understand what is executor service. Executor service, what we can do with help of executor service, we can create a thread pool of number of threads. So here I'm getting executor dot new fixed thread pool of size 2. What it will happen? It will get a thread pool of size 2. So now we can have like two threads. So let's understand back on this line where we are calling this method two times, right, with different set of values. So this will be given to one thread and this will be given to another thread. We can make sure that this also by printing the thread name inside this. That's not currently we are not going to do it, but yeah. So we are returning futures. So future is one of the concept, is really cool concept in Java. You can read more about this. This is more like a promise in JavaScript where asynchronously it will just process this and it will give me some status whether it is finished or not. So with the futures, I can check whether it is completed or not. So I'm doing future is done, whether it is completed or not. And once both of them are completed, future dot is done true. This is also true, and out both are completed. It will come out of this while loop. And once it is completed, what I'm doing is I'm getting the final list, which is the array list where all the two threads have written the data, and then I'm traversing and I'm then just printing it here. So this will eventually improve the performance. So here, what are things we need to understand, right? First, we need to understand what is executor, how we can create a thread pool. This is a really cool concept. Second, we need to understand, let's say there are five threads and all of the five threads are writing into single list. There can be an issue, right? Because in a normal array list, if I use a normal array list, there is a thread safety issue because normal array list is not thread safe. Let's say one thread is writing and another thread start reading. So there can be a mismatch in this case if we are using a normal array list, which is not thread safe, but collection dot synchronize list. It will basically convert our array list into a synchronized list. There are other approaches also for this. We can use copy on write array list, or we can use a vector for this kind of operation. For writing multiple threads or writing into a single data structure, we can use these three approaches. So this is similar to that which we have like hash map and concurrent hash map. We are having a hash map and concurrent hash map. Hash map is for normal, which is like not a multi-threaded application, but if we are using a multi-threaded application, we can use concurrent hash map. I hope this makes sense. And yeah, so we are doing nothing here. We are creating a task. This is like creating a task, and then we are submitting the task, executor service dot submitting that particular task. Task is nothing, whatever the operation we want to perform, right? And then we are returning the future here. Future, and I have explained you right how future will be used. With the future, we can check whether this operation is completed or not. Let's say there are 500 records, and right now thread is at the fifth record. You can check whether future is done is true or not. If so right now it's at the fifth record, it will give me false. Once it has completed it, it will give me true. So here that's how it will be used. I hope this must have give you some basic idea. What I will do, I have a series of blog posts also on this. I will combine those and I will add in the descriptions for your better understanding. Thank you.